Attention! The coming weeks will determine who makes it onto the list of the wealthy and who remains just a spectator. Banks are shaking, the Fed is preparing to pivot, and liquidations are washing weak hands out of the market. This is exactly what creates the last opportunity to buy crypto assets at current prices. Let's go! Macro phone of the week. Are cheap money coming back? On Friday, October 17th, the President, Albert Musalem, president of the St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank, stated that he is inclined to support a rate cut scheduled for October 28th through 29th, provided that inflation risks are under control. This is a good signal towards a pivot. At the same time, the markets were shaken. 11 billion pounds vanished from British banks. This happened due to fears surrounding US regional banks. Nervousness in traditional markets has increased. The takeaway for the cryptocurrency market: a softer Fed policy means more cheap money and a higher appetite for risk. Traditional markets are really feverish right now, and big capital is looking for opportunities to move in other directions. This week, the market is anticipating a rate cut from the Fed, October 28th to 29th. For the cryptocurrency market, a Fed rate cut could be huge fuel for the next big impulse upward. And after that, after the historic liquidations that took place in the cryptocurrency market, Bitcoin is fluctuating within its range around $107,000 to $110,000. Mass liquidations have significantly cleared the market of weak hands, and this works in our favor as it presents a great opportunity to buy at lower prices. We can clearly see that big capital is taking advantage of this opportunity, and this is an excellent chance to build positions in heavyweight assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BNB. Why should you buy? Right now, a macro reversal by the Fed towards easing. Stress in the banking sector increases interest in non-correlated assets, and the post-liquidation sell-off in the cryptocurrency market has already happened. The combination of these three factors is quite rare in the market, and this is the last window of opportunity to buy market leaders at low prices, before the policy shifts and starts giving a huge boost to the cryptocurrency market. We are a cryptocurrency fund that has been around since 2016, and we understand how the market works, especially during pre-bull run conditions and when the market is in a deep downtrend. This is already our third cycle, which, as we see, will soon begin with global growth. We have already gone through periods of growth, decline, long accumulation phases, growth again, another decline, and yet another long accumulation period. Each time the news background is about the same. We will, of course, analyze this in more detail on the charts, but what is happening now is that the more retail investors are told that the cryptocurrency market is a bad place to invest, and the more the price is dumped, the more people will run away. On October 10th, there was a huge drop that liquidated a massive number of positions. And this is one of the key signs that the bull run is already at the doorstep. And, in previous bull runs, in the past, the market would turn around beautifully at this moment, but not this time. They're dragging it out a bit longer, and we'll take a closer look at this on the charts. Meanwhile, we are multiplying coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, and USDT for our investors with an approximate yield of 3 to 8% per month. Details for cooperation are in the description. There is a link to the info bot and support. Also, friends, we've launched a public portfolio where, starting from $100, we are publicly showing the path to $100,000 in 1 year. We show what we buy, and we broadcast all of this publicly. So, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure to do so. It will be interesting and profitable. Be sure to watch this video until the end, because we will announce the winner of the $50 prize. Under each weekly review, you have the opportunity to leave a comment, one per person. You can leave 3 comments with either the exact or approximate price of Bitcoin. We will select a winner to whom we will give $50. Leave your comments. Maybe next time you will be the winner. Well, now let's move on to the charts. As usual, we're looking at the monthly time frame. We're looking at the Bitfinex exchange. We have about 7 days left until the end of the month. We can see quite a bit of volatility here on the monthly time frame, and the RSI shows a triple top, indicating that right now we've broken through the purple and green lines. But the movement on the RSI here is still rather questionable. However, this triple top suggests that the market is temporarily overheated. Let's look at the weekly time frame. And on the weekly time frame, it has consolidated right at the level of $108,000. The previous resistance and support levels we had here, there's a pause, and that's a good sign. For now, on the daily time frame, they're trying to form a reversal point. They also tried to break upwards here on October 21st, but that move was sold off. So far, according to candlestick analysis, the market looks overheated, and this overheating is also visible on the monthly time frame. On the weekly time frame, it's the same story because the chart is already rounding off and we can see a good divergence here on the weekly time frame. That's why I tend to believe that the downward movement should continue. Let's open our charts and see what we have here. Here, the level is the zone around $107,000. For now, that's it. We haven't reached $107,000 yet. In previous episodes, I explained to you that $107,000 is a key level, after which we should see a decline to around $95,000. We also have a head and shoulders pattern here, which should play out well right to the $95,000 zone. And this, in my opinion, will be the correction point at 0.786, so keep a close eye on this. If there is a breakout and consolidation below $95,000, Bitcoin should head towards the $85,000 mark. For now, Bitcoin remains above $107,000. A move higher is preferable. A rise to around $142,000. But still, there is some overheating. And I clearly notice this overheating. And it absolutely cannot be ignored. So, given that there was a big downward move, I believe that this movement is more likely to continue, at least to $95,000 for Bitcoin. We should focus specifically on these levels and make decisions there. Let's take a look. I also have a chart from the Binance exchange. Here it's constructed a bit differently. And here we see on the monthly time frame, there's this interesting sign. And we can see that there's also a triple top on the RSI here. Everything is basically pointing to what indicates a decline. Here, on the monthly time frame, we see a huge bearish wedge. This wedge, of course, itself, 80 to 90%, it will never fully play out. Yes, across its entire range down to $15,000 or $16,000. But it's very likely that there could still be a breakout from this wedge. Again, a consolidation even slightly below $100,000, and there could be cascading sell-offs all the way down to $82,000. Here we have the first Fibonacci value, and this is such a key level that Bitcoin should hold above, right? It would be good to test it again and then move up further, but if that does not happen and we see a drop down, and for some reason we see a consolidation above $122,000 or $123,000, this would open up a range on the monthly time frame for a move to around approximately $185,000 to $187,000 for Bitcoin. That's why these levels are critically important right now, and we are watching them very closely. In other words, the market is at such a point, a crossroads as to which way the movement will go. Of course, ideally, it would be good to have a correction to unload the RSI a bit and then continue moving upward. These are the kinds of values we're looking at. This is what we're focusing on. As for Ethereum, I'd like to take a look at the 3-month time frame, because on the 3-month time frame, I want to remind you that we've broken above all previous highs. That is, Ethereum has never in its entire history, since its inception in 2017, it has never held above $4,100. Now, this consolidation has happened on the quarterly candle, and this is a very important sign indicating that further growth is likely. So right now, everything suggests that this is just a corrective move that will be bought up. And then the market will continue to move upward. Let's also look at the monthly time frame. We can see that there was a good breakout and consolidation here. Right now, the price is retesting this level. And it's possible that the price might not even dip lower, although ideally, it would be good to push the price down a bit. Still a bit lower. I'll show this on the charts now, and then we can look at the move upward. Yes, we can leave a wick because, as we can see here, in principle, the wicks can be huge. Before this upward movement, by the way, this is exactly the year 2020, which I mentioned in the previous video, when there was a big dump, a major drop. And after that, the price started to shoot up rapidly. So let's move on to the weekly time frame. Here we can see a triple bottom. I talked about it again in previous videos. Let me remind you now that we have a breakout from this triple bottom, a retest of the level from which we broke out. And if Ethereum does end up consolidating below $3,800, then its price will likely head towards around $3,250. And if it consolidates below $3,250, we could see a major drop all the way down to $2,700. We will consider this scenario if Bitcoin consolidates at the levels I mentioned to you. If Bitcoin does not consolidate at those values, then, accordingly, Ethereum will move further upward. And this retest might be enough for it to continue moving up. Whatever the current movement is, even down to $2,700, if the price drops below the current levels to the ones I mentioned, it will be an excellent opportunity. And in our fund, we consider this the last opportunity to buy at such great prices before a major move in Ethereum. In this growth cycle, at the very least, we see it reaching around $20,000, if not higher. Let's also take a look at Ethereum to Bitcoin. Ethereum to Bitcoin made a huge breakout, a strong move over 100%. To be precise, let's check, it actually grew by 150%. And of course, after such growth, a good correction is needed. We can see that Ethereum to Bitcoin is still in a downtrend. But as I said, in this growth cycle, I see Ethereum to Bitcoin reaching at least higher levels, 0.2 Ethereum per Bitcoin, and it's possible we might even reach 0.3 or 0.4 Ethereum per Bitcoin. This could be a historic moment when Ethereum is worth more than a quarter of a Bitcoin. That has never happened before in history, but it's very clear. That's what the chart is showing me. That's why we're making a key bet on Ethereum's growth right now. Now let's take a look at BNB. BNB is moving steadily and confidently. BNB is really impressive because it's partly living its own life. We can see here a huge formation of a bullish flag on the monthly time frame. And this bullish flag is confidently moving towards its target. And this target is around $2,500. Here we have this movement. We expect Binance Coin to reach the $2,500 zone. We'll keep watching after that. For now, it's moving very confidently toward those levels. Yes, some corrective movements are still possible. In fact, we've already seen some of them happen. And we see that every time, people keep buying it up, and buying it up. Binance Coin is being bought up even more actively than Ethereum and Bitcoin, especially during these pullbacks. That's why BNB is holding strong. After all, it's the token of the Binance exchange. Binance has huge trading volumes, and they are developing very confidently in this market. So that's all for now. What has happened since 2020 can be considered a huge accumulation phase. And now Binance Coin is going to perform very well. For BNB against Bitcoin, we also see a confident consolidation. In previous reviews, I showed you that a double bottom is forming here on the monthly time frame. And it's playing out as expected, and it's playing out well. We measured the breakout point right around these levels. And that means that Binance Coin will grow from the current levels against Bitcoin by about more than 50%. So the time for alt season is really coming now. And I can see that clearly. Dear partners and investors, in this video review, I have shared my opinion on the market and our position as a fund. So, the price at the time of recording the video was $111,247. Let's see who our winner is. Lily Lima. Comment 111,209. Wins this time. Contact our business support team and they will send you 50 USDT. Be sure to participate next time as well. I understand that many of us are used to how actively the cryptocurrency market moves, especially back in 2021 when we saw a massive increase in capital by 40 and even 80 times, when we were making absolutely colossal numbers in dollars. And this prolonged winter, which lasted almost 4 years, has worn many people out, although the returns aren't exactly small compared to traditional markets. But still, we all want those coveted dozens of X's. I believe that time is coming right now. And we're about to see a gold rush like we haven't experienced since at least 2021. I've shared my thoughts and analysis. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a like. And leave a comment, we'd love to read it. And thank you for your attention. See you in the next episodes, and goodbye for now. I'm already waiting, even though it's early, I just can't wait.